him in the shed.
Well, hi there, folks. Slick back here in the shed. So today we're just doing a clean out on our Husqvarna snowblower that's out of the shed. Model ST224. This would be a 2-stage snow thrower. It's having an issue. It is not starting. And mind you, I'm not the one who typically uses the snow thrower out here. Used to be my Gramps. Now, that said, it's gonna fall onto old Slick to maintain the clear walkways outside. Something I would do with pleasure. So, to that end, I found when this snow thrower was stored last, put away for spring and whatnot, you know what I mean? It has an on-off selector here. It has an on-off selector here for the fuel. When I was trying to confirm before our latest snowstorm where we got about 12 inches of snow, when I went to confirm whether or not this would start and be reliable when I needed it, I noticed that it was left in the on position. So I can only imagine that any remaining fuel that was in the tank and that was specifically sitting in the carburetor fuel bowl evaporated, and now the carburetor is plugged up. And I can confirm my suspicion by eliminating whether or not we have or do not have ignition or spark. So I'm going to show you how to do that quick before we proceed to cleaning out our carburetor and getting our snow thrower back and running. Suppose I ought to first, to eliminate any suspicion, nobody has to take my word for it necessarily that this is in fact not running. There you go. You don't have to take my word for it. Now what we will try, we'll take our spark plug off here. A little wet. Smells like old fuel, by the way, which is not helping our case any. But just to show you that it does have spark, you could just leave it connected to our boot here, hold it in such a way that the arc would jump from the spark plug when you pulled the pull handle and make contact with a steel surface, and you could see the arc bridge the gap, and then you would know that you have some type of spark. That's not exactly what I was going to show you. Take a little starting fluid, which, look, up to you if this is something that you do or don't want to do. People have reservations about using starting fluid on engines in general, so there's a time and a place for it, and for small engines I don't see an issue. You notice how I sprayed starting fluid straight into the combustion chamber underneath where the spark plug would thread in. We're just doing this for a diagnostic test, okay? So we're going to thread our spark plug back in. You trust old Slick, I would never lead you astray. Snug that. Snug, I didn't say torque, over torque, I said snug. Put your boot back on, and when I pull this over, if we have spark or ignition, and it is a fuel delivery issue confirmed, then this should pop off. So our fuel is on, choke is on, throttle is where it should be, safety switch is in. So there you go. Popped right off. That confirms to me that we do have ignition, but that we have a fuel issue. So let's get to draining whatever may be sitting in the bottom of that carb bowl, and we'll get her cleaned out, put her back together, and hope she pops right off. So I am going to try not to stab myself. I'm going to cut us open just a bottle I had laying around because this seemed like it would work nice. Use whatever you got, whatever you want. But this just seems the proper height to be able to hold underneath the carburetor to catch any fuel that come out of the bowl. And again, do this only after your fuel's shut off. Relax, relax, huh? Well, there wasn't much in there, that's for sure. Well, oh, boy, that is the worst one I have ever seen. Granted, it's not that I've worked on more than maybe, I don't know, 12 to 15 small engines before. So in the grand scheme, it's not a whole lot, but I mean, The worst. So give me a minute. Let me... Goodness gracious. We're going to have to dig a little deeper. Terrible. Oh, yuck. How is it that bad? Okay, we're just getting a little deeper than I planned to do, but that's fine. Everything's fine. 1, 2, smaller. Maybe it's like an 8. Anything else holding you on there? Hello? These as well. Come here. Oh, I'll put that on. Jeez. A lot looser now. Imagine that. I got one more. Ew. Oh. Again, I don't know why it's that tight. This also seems like a real pain to get back on, this one. Could that be it? There. Made me a little nervous. Okay. Yikes. Gummed up. Choke. Still working. That's good. Let's be careful with our gasket. Oh. It's a neat design. I think we're just now getting towards the end of this line. Jeez. Where's the vice grip? Get this carburetor out of the way. Alright. Well, after spilling all the fuels, finally got that carburetor out of the way. Hey, at least the gasket's not goofed up. End of our line a little bit, but it'll be fine. I don't recommend doing it with no gloves, alright? Do as I say, not as I do. Gasoline helps find any dry skin or open wounds on your hands though, so that's kind of nice. We'll be back after these messages. Alright, so at this point, basically go crazy. Start cleaning your parts. Use a little bit of mineral spirits and a jug if you want. You can use some brake clean. You can use actual dedicated carb choke cleaner. You might want to use just a soft bristle brush like an old toothbrush. Torch tip cleaners would be super helpful for getting through any other jet openings, small passages, things of that nature. If you have it, compressed air is going to be good to use as well. And then things like picks. If I didn't already mention it, little brushes. These picks are nice for things such as like when we need to remove this O-ring here. A magnetic parts tray doesn't hurt, although not absolutely necessary. There's your needle. All right, I'm gonna get to cleaning here. Also take special care in trying to remove this gasket. Maybe like start peeling around the edges if you can. If she's not coming, get yourself a very thin flat edge, maybe a putty knife, something you can get up under there so you can try to reuse this as well. A little bit of patience goes a long way. See, I started to rip it there. You gotta be careful. Ease on around here. Doing good. I'm gonna reuse this. I think we'll be all right. Yeah, we'll see, right? Should also clean up that surface before you put everything back together. Do as I say, not as I do. Alright, fresh gas. Just double check to make sure I'm not leaking everywhere. Attaboy, coal. fine. Okay. Choke on, quarter throttle, fuel valve on. We don't have a primer bulb anymore. It's a long story, which is fine. We're just gonna have to pull it more. Instead of pulling this over, if I get tired of doing that, I can just hook up the electric start.
Yeehaw, buddy. A lot of snow.